Okay, welcome to another episode of the StartupSac podcast, where we do interviews with Sacramento Startup founders and innovators. Today I'm with Kim Box, who is the president and CEO of Gatekeeper Innovation. Welcome, Kim. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
So let's start off with you telling us a little bit about yourself. What's your background and your experience in entrepreneurship and business?
Okay. Well, actually, I have a little bit of an interesting journey getting to this entrepreneurship type of lifestyle I've come into. I worked at HP for 29 years, and I was an executive in the IT services space, led $1 billion global organization around the world, and transformed a lot of different things. And about 8 years ago, decided to take kind of a bit of a change in direction and see about leaving HP and doing things different than I had been doing in the past. And one of the things that really interested me, just as a complete backdrop, is doing things that felt very purposeful, that made a difference in the community and the world, whatnot. So I did a few different things. I wrote a book on diversity and leadership, and I also started a nonprofit called Pathway to Prevention, which was prevention of teenage drug and alcohol addiction. We produced a documentary which won an Emmy and is being shown across the nation. So that was about, we completed that about 4 or 5 years ago. And I'm also on a bank board of directors and serve on nonprofit boards. Did a few other entrepreneurial things, a few startups of my own, and a little over a year ago got introduced to this opportunity, which has become kind of the perfect trifecta in my journey, because it coupled not only my leadership background that I have at HP, transformation, leadership, strategy, but also my passion for prevention, which is at the heart of what we do here at SaferLock, and my love of entrepreneurship.
Okay, so talk a little bit about, we're here at Gatekeeper Innovation. What is Gatekeeper Innovation in a nutshell, and what is the origin story for Gatekeeper?
So Gatekeeper, and also known as SaferLock, is really all about medication safekeeping. And the origins of the company were Deborah Simpson got in a very serious car accident, and after she was going through all of her rehabilitation from various surgeries, her youngest son got addicted to her painkillers, and she asked her other son to help find a way to lock them up, like something she could keep in her medicine chest and her purse and various places, and couldn't find anything. So her older son, Joseph Simpson, invented the SaferLock, and it's basically a very simple product where if you're on the combination, the cap comes off very easily. If you're not on the combination, if the combination is mixed up, it just spins endlessly, and there's no way to get into it without breaking the bottle. And really what you want is something that would deter a young, curious teen, babysitters, housekeepers, from pilfering and sneaking a few pills, because Deborah knows that if she had had that, her son wouldn't have been able to sneak a few pills here and there. She at first thought it was the pharmacist shorting her, and then found out, unfortunately, it was more than that, and that's how SaferLock was born.
So what was the development process for that like in developing? You got a patent for that, or the founders did. And so what's that process like?
So the team started working on it early on. So they started the company about 6 years ago. I've been with the company about 1.5 years now as the CEO and president. And what they did was they went through various trial and error with different models and different designs. And when they honed in on the one that was the real design that you see here, they then got that patented, and then we actually have issued patents. So we are fully patented. Nobody can do the locking mechanism. Nobody can do it on the standard. These are standard prescription bottles that we fit on. As a matter of fact, this is the Walgreens type bottle. There's all different types, and we can do a closure for any of them, and the patent is secure for all of that. So we've really captured this space, if you will, of this type of locking mechanism for prescription bottles.
And that's been on the market for how long?
About 2.5 years, maybe 2 years, that this product has been fully on the market, and we're in several different stores. We're in 66 Lowe's, which you might think, what is a medicine safekeeping? But we're actually in their medicine chest and their safety product section. We're in Bed Bath & Beyond. We are also in several independent drugstores. One of our most strategic clients that we have is Pernix Therapeutics, and they make an opioid. And what they do is they actually buy a SaferLock for every single patient that gets prescribed their medication. They're very committed to keeping their patients safe with their opioids, so they actually buy them and provide them to the patient.
Very timely with the opioid crisis going on.
Yes, very much.
So just maybe for those who don't know, what is some key background about people breaking into these things and stealing prescription medications?
Well, I think, you can hardly turn the TV on without finding out about the opioid crisis. And, the problem that we're trying to solve is that first time that someone pilfers or sneaks a drug, and what's happening is over 150 people a day are dying of opioid overdose. So it's turned into a national health epidemic for the United States. It's incredible. 80% of the world's opioids are prescribed in the U.S. alone. It started, in 1995 when the first opioid started hitting the market, and it kind of quietly took root with people getting addicted, and now it's a very, very serious epidemic. So it's pretty exciting to be a part of a program that's not only building a really viable business, but solving a health crisis that is ravaging our nation. And, whether it's young people, and just a few statistics, 90% of people that get addicted to opioids get addicted in their teenage years when their brains are still developing. 70% find those opioids in the home medicine chest, and only 3% of families lock them up.
Wow.
So our goal is to slide that 3% and make less and less access to teens.
So really making a big difference in the world.
A very big difference. It's not the only thing that's going to solve the crisis, but it'll be something that helps on the prevention side to keep it. And over 3,000 kids a day start using prescription drugs for the very first time. 3,000 kids a day.
Wow, that's incredible. So you've come into this, you said about a year ago. Mm-hmm. So how have things changed, or what has been your focus coming in leading here at Gatekeeper?
So really, when I talked to the team about a little over a year ago, they were looking for someone who had experience in scaling and structuring an organization. They have been working really hard to get traction, and now they're ready for someone to come and join the team that had some experience in that kind of way. So I've come in and I've helped to really kind of solidify our strategies, look at how do we want to make our organization very efficient, putting in standard processes and tools, and just really helping the team with the connections and focus that we need to move forward.
So where are you guys at now as far as scaling and revenue and growth and that kind of thing?
Well, we are getting steady revenue, and we actually, Pernix has probably tripled their orders with us, and we are getting new orders every day from various channels that we sell to. We have been fundraising, and we've raised quite a bit of money through our angel network and the pre-seed, if you will, the notes. And we're just now getting ready to go after our Series A, which is a big partnership that we have with Fourth Wave.
Well, good segue. Let's talk about Fourth Wave a little bit. You're part of the first cohort of Fourth Wave, which is a local startup accelerator here focused on female founders. So tell people a little bit about Fourth Wave first, and then about your experience in this first cohort, what you've learned, how they've helped.
Yeah, I'm very excited about Fourth Wave. And so Fourth Wave is a organization that has selecting startup, not early stage startup, but startup companies that already have traction, have a proven business model, and they're really ready for growth capital. And what Fourth Wave's goal is to do two things. One is to help those companies raise that capital through their connections and various avenues. But also they have another thing that is really cool, which is conscious leadership. And they're looking at different ways to make sure that not only are we growing the companies from a financial perspective, but also from a really nice conscious leadership and building companies that people want to work for, that can grow and stand the test of time. So what I'm doing with Fourth Wave has been taking full advantage and really getting ready for this Series A. We have everything we need from a company and getting our slide decks and on all of that, but they're really helping with very conscious connections with the right venture capital groups that are interested in the products that we have, the business that we have, and what we're at this stage of the company. So they're doing a lot with the connections that we may not have access to. Awesome.
So you're going to be going out and looking for a Series A, which I understand takes a lot of time and effort. So, aside from that, what else is on the horizon for you guys? You guys, it looks like you've got some other products that you're coming out with.
We do actually.
Let's talk about those a little bit.
Yeah, so we just in the last 2 months came out with the SaferLock box, which is, we have a white version, we have a black version, so we're testing some different markets in terms of the box. So what's nice about the box is that if you have multiple medications, or if you have medications that don't fit in a bottle necessarily, you can easily store them in the box. So we've been focused a lot on that to make sure that we have those ready, and we're getting some amazing reception from this through coalitions and many different channels that we have access to. So it's kind of nice for our clients to have something else that we can introduce them to as another product to sell. The other thing that we've done that's really exciting is we have, the engineering team has designed a new cap. We're calling it a modular cap. So it has the exact same functionality as this cap, but it's 40% smaller, so it's going to help reduce our costs, manufacturing costs. But the other thing about this cap is that the top of the cap will remain the same. It's where the locking mechanism is, and the bottom of the cap can be adapted to any bottle out there. As you know, there's many different types of closures, like I showed you this one, which is the one click, the push and turn, there's the push down turn, all the different child lock, safety lock type bottles. But we'll be able to just change the bottom part here without re-engineering this, and in the past we'd have to re-engineer the top completely. And this is going to make our product more competitive from a cost perspective, but it's also going to make it very modular, so we can adapt to any closure that we might come in contact with our various sales channels.
So constant innovation.
Yeah, the team, it's a great team, that a team of young people that that were going to Sac State at the time. They were in the entrepreneurship program here at Sac State, and saw this opportunity through a real serious need of the problem in the market, and they've done amazing. And not only have they produced, Joseph Simpson, who is the inventor, has produced a very viable solution to this problem. Nathan Langley, who is the other co-founder, has become a thought leader in the nation on abuse deterrent packaging for opioids, which is really, really great. And it's really neat to be a part of the Sacramento community, the entrepreneur community. I think there's a ton of collaboration and people wanting to help, whether it's groups of investors or other startup companies or just facilitators and anything we need. I can't tell you how many times I'm out somewhere in the community and I meet someone that says, well, what can I do to help? Who can I connect you with? Who's invested so far, and who would you think as a perfect investor, and how can I help connect you? And there's a different vibe right now going on in Sacramento. It's I've been at this since I left my longtime career at HP 8 years ago, and I can tell you from that time 8 years ago till now, in the last few years, things are moving and shaking here in Sacramento, and it's just really fun. How do you
characterize that? What are some of the key differences?
I would say there's more action, there's more activities around startups, there's more avenues for startups. Before there might have been a few things, like Startup Grind didn't exist 8 years ago. Mm-hmm. The Hive and all these places weren't as well known, and now there's many more of those types of places. So there's a lot of ways to start a company. Not only, it's kind of lonely when you're by yourself trying to start something, but now you can go into these collaboration centers, and not only are there a place to work with internet, there's like resources there to help you get started. But I think it's the ecosystem that's being created in Sacramento that's really different. I know in the past people think of it as kind of an extension of Silicon Valley, but I think there's a sense of pride here now that, yeah, while we do always want to collaborate with other groups in other cities, we have a lot to be proud of right here in Sacramento, a lot of our own connections. And we also have startups are starting to, turn over to successes that we can point to, and people that we can go to and show us, how they've done it, and they're always willing to give back, which is really phenomenal.
And you guys are there, or going to be there soon yourself?
Yeah, we're going to be that. We're going to be that next group that's
awesome.
Helping the next group. Yeah.
Awesome. So, what do you think? You talked about a lot of progress. What do you see still needs improvement? Where should we focus our energy to improve the startup scene here in Sacramento?
Well, I think we need more. I'll just be really blunt, okay?
Good.
Is that all right?
Sure.
I think we need more real funds. I think we have a lot of, we have investors and we have different processes, but I'd like to see us have more actual funds here, venture funds. where we're actually investing. And I know there's a few of them starting up, and there's a few that have been here for a while, but there's not a lot. So it's kind of like, you're kind of putting all your eggs in that basket or going outside of town. And still there's many companies have to go much broader than Sacramento to get funded. And I'd like us to kind of have Sand Hill Part 2 or something, some little, kind of system where we have a group of venture funds that are really looking at Sacramento as a place to invest, not only in the great innovation, but the region itself.
Okay. So kind of coming back to the fourth wave idea a little bit, the female founder focus that they've got with their incorporation here in the city and the work that Tracy and her people do there, I kind of wonder if we can really make Sacramento kind of a hub or a mecca for female founders. And I kind of wonder what, sometimes I want to throw that out there and see how people react to that. Because it's a big issue, diversity and inclusion and decency and all these issues coming out with tech founders and Uber and 500 startups. What are your thoughts on maybe Sacramento leading the way?
I would love that. As a matter of fact, when I left, one of the other projects I did is I wrote a book called Woven Leadership: The Power of Diversity and Transforming Organizations to Success. So diversity, the true power of diversity, which is bringing together many different groups, many different people, personality, perspective, everything, it's just so powerful. So first of all, I really do believe that's a powerful combination. And if we could figure out how to do that here and show other regions and other places how powerful it is, because it's not just a check the box. That's not what's good. It's what it is really really working it and really seeing the power of it. But having Sacramento be a region that embraces all different types of diversity and has a real good foothold on showcasing that women leaders are making a difference would be phenomenal. Yeah. I think we can do it. I think the fourth wave is starting that. I think they're starting more than just assisting us. They're starting a movement, putting a movement afoot. So
good. I'm glad to hear that, because like Tracy and fourth wave, I think we've started a movement here, and I think we can be a shining light for people to attract people.
Yeah, and the best way to do that is be just highly successful, and that's what we're going to do.
Okay. So kind of starting to wrap things up a little bit, what kind of words or advice do you have for other startup founders or people coming into starting their companies?
I think some of the best advice that I've been given that I would like to pass along is just don't give up. I mean, sometimes it's not going to be what you thought it was at the beginning. I mean, it never is. I don't know of anyone that started a company and said, I'm building this, and didn't end up with something that was some iteration or morphing into something else. And even though the product has stayed the same with this company, the way that we're attacking the market has definitely changed over time. The team has tried many different channels and different avenues, and it's all about continuing to try to hit that vein and okay, this is the way to go, and just don't give up, because you have a passion and you want to make something happen, and just keep looking and being creative on different avenues.
Don't give up, but be flexible enough to shift if needed.
Yeah, and I mean, don't beat your head up against the wall by trying the same thing over and over. Look at different ways to attack the same problem and be creative is really the advice that I would give. Okay.
Any last shout outs or anything to anybody out there?
Well, my main shout out is to the team here at SaferLock, amazing group of people. We're a very small team that is working super hard, doing the hustle, as they say, to make things happen. So just big props. I'm very fortunate to be here. I always tell the team that I'm here supporting them to make this happen. And the fourth wave too. I think the fourth wave has been a real breath of fresh air in the Sacramento Valley, so I really appreciate that. Okay,
before I forget, where do people find you on the web?
SaferLockRx.com.
SaferLockRx.com, and for fourth wave, it's fourthwave.io, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for your time, and we wish you all the best of luck and look forward to more great things coming out of here.
Oh, well, thank you. Thanks for coming by.
All right.